Today in this video, I am going to show you how to negative paint in watercolor. So I have just sketched a box here and I have drawn a simple botanical. So it's just a stem with some leaves, and I'm going to start out with painting this a Hansa Yellow color, and we're going to just get that down. You can do this wet on dry, you can do this wet in wet, you can do this painting wet in wet and then grabbing a little green and dropping it in there, and just do it whichever way you want to. I'm using Daniel Smith Hansa Yellow Medium, and this sketchbook is the Super B Aqua. I'll link both of these in the description below. It is a pretty good sketchbook for practice. I am really enjoying it. I have almost filled it up. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a sketchbook tour. Now I'm just going to take some color and just kind of go through and add some different color. And we'll let this dry and we'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to negative paint this. Okay, the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to do, let's see if I can do a graduated wash. I probably ought to do this wet and wet. Let me do that. Let me get a bigger brush. This is dry. And I'm going to go around and do this wet and wet. And I'm doing this because my paper, it just dries so fast. And if you want a little bit more working time, going wet and wet is probably your best bet, unless you're a fast painter. And if you're a fast painter, then I say go for it. So I'm going to try this, and I'm just going to go around these these leaves, and maybe I'll try to work around as I go. Now, this green I'm using is a mix of Hansa Yellow Light and Cobalt Blue, and my brush is a number 8 Princton, and I've just made a large wash of my palette, and hopefully I won't mess this up as I get around. But if I do, oh well, I can just turn the page and go from there. And the reason I'm doing green first is I'm going to come back and I'm going to make a couple more leaves. See how that's drying unevenly? If I had 100% cotton paper, it would do better. I'm going to take that and tip it down. It would definitely do better. But this is not bad, but it's 25% cotton. And negative painting is painting around your shapes. There's all kinds of ways to negative paint. You know, it's a technique where you paint around your shapes. There's all kinds of artists that use negative painting in all kinds of different ways, and none of them are wrong. And even if I mess this up, it's not wrong. I think I'm gonna try to blend this down, clean my brush, and I'm gonna try to make this a stopping point. Okay, let's let this dry and we'll come back and do another layer. Okay, so this is all dry, and I have, did the negative painting and background in a cobalt green and Hansa Yellow Medium mix. So now I have, in these spaces, I have drew other leaves. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to mix a really good dark, and I think I'll use, let's see, let's use Phthalo green. I learned this one in a workshop, and we can get some interest in here. Phthalo green, and Phthalo blue, and I'm just kind of, let me show you my palette. I'm just mixing them close together, Phthalo blue, and up here, let me get that. These are strong colors, so they will give me some interest, and here's Alizarin Crimson. And if I mix these together, I'm not even going to worry about this on my palette here. I'm just going to leave it. Alizarin Crimson. And I'm going to mix it here. I'm using a natural Da Vinci number 6. It holds quite a bit of water. It really doesn't have a sharp point on the end, but so I may have some difficulty getting in here, but if I keep having trouble, I will switch brushes. So I'm just going to go in here and and what it's going to do, it's going to give me a nice indigo. It's going to give me a nice dark. It's going to give me some violets, but it's going to give me, see, I might have trouble right in here where I need a point. But I'm just going to carve around these leaves. Oh, let's see. Carve around these leaves, make some new leaves. Now I'm going to get some Phthalo blue, and I'm just going to keep adding different colors just to make a little bit more interesting background. Phthalo blue. I might need something with a little bit more of a point just to give me some more control. That's one thing I don't like about this brush is, you know, it does hold a lot. Let me get what I have out of here. Let's get some Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo green. That'll make a nice dark. But you get the idea. This is a nice color to do backgrounds with, this mix. Alright, so let's get over here. Let's just stick with this brush. Let's get some Alizarin Crimson in there. Alright, now I'm just going to turn my sketchbook here. I like those colors together. Let's get some Phthalo blue. Go around. By this point, the Phthalo blue and the Phthalo green has kind of mixed. And I'm just going to negative paint around these leaves. This makes your painting a little bit more interesting. Let's get some Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo green. You can do this also with indigo, Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo, and you can use any paints you want. These are Daniel Smith. I like Rosa Gallery. I'm really liking Rosa Gallery lately. Let's get some more Alizarin Crimson. That Alizarin Crimson makes things really dark. So there's our first layer of negative painting. It really makes those yellows and greens glow. So I really like this. Let's tidy things up a little bit where it's drying. If you work on 100% cotton paper, you'll get a much more even wash. Okay, so there is negative painting and one layer of background. You can see there's some reds, there's some phthalos going on, mixture. I do have a few back runs. And what I would do next is maybe take my fine liner and let's see, 05. And let's see, I've got a few wet places here. I'm not going to disturb them. You know, I might take my fine liner. I don't think it's quite dry enough. Let me dry this. Okay, so let's get this fine liner going on and give this some more detail. And you don't have to stay in the line. I'm not a real tight painter. I'm very loose. And you could have done that first layer with just yellow. I'm a big proponent of turning my sketch page, so sketchbook, so it feels more natural, because I like to pull the lines toward me. This is my style. I don't like to get real realistic. I like to do different techniques, such as negative painting. Okay, so there we go. And other thing I might do is I might go around and give it a border. Here it is. So I might go around and give it a border, like I might go here, and I might go and down here. Let's see. There's that. This thing's great. I love this thing because you can do so many things with it as far as without measuring and getting a ruler out. I use it all the time. So there's a border for that. And then maybe I could take a pencil, I don't know, maybe even take some Hansa Yellow or some of this green, or maybe even some Alizarin Crimson. Let's do Alizarin Crimson. That would look pretty with the green. And just paint around the edge. There's that. Now let's see. What else could we do? We could let that dry. We could leave it as it is. If you like it, leave it. If you don't, you can add more to it and bring more out of it. I love all the blends of the different color. Not too crazy about the backgrounds and stuff, but to be expected on this paper. So this is good, but you know, on cotton paper such as arches or whatever, you could, you know, you would get much better results. So I'm going to leave it here today. I might go back and add some other stuff. Okay, so here is the final piece. I actually lost some footage, or I forgot to push record, one or the other. So I ended up just making a little frame, took a Posca pen, outlined my botanical, and just made some squigglies on the corners. So you could do as much or as little as you want, but this is kind of a fun exercise to practice your backgrounds. I was going to give it another layer, but I end up kind of liking this background and how there was backgrounds and everything. Kind of reminded me of a, you know, forest floor or something like that. So thanks for watching, you guys, and I hope you have a good day. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.